I'm very glad you came to see me today, children. Ever since your grandfather passed, I've been very lonely.
It's okay, Gran. We missed you too. Yeah, will you tell us a story? Maybe it'll cheer you up.
Story! Oh, I don't know, kids. Please. All right, already. How would you like to hear about the steel mills? That's where I met your grandfather.
Okay.
What do you know about the steel mills?
They make clouds. That's what comes out of the buildings.
Not exactly. Dearie, will you hand me that book? Thank you. Iron and steel were Pittsburgh's main industries for nearly a century and a half. The mills along the rivers churned out their products 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It can be said that steel from Pittsburgh mills practically built America. From the Empire State Building to the Golden Gate Bridge, steel from Pittsburgh found its way to all corners of the developing nation.
Wow.
Carnegie Steel's Homestead Works were the largest plant in the United States. The mills were sold by Andrew Carnegie to United States Steel and operated until the 1970s. The land once occupied by the Homestead Works is now home to the waterfront, a residential and commercial development.
I know the waterfront. That's where we go see movies.
Movies!
Yes, Trevor, movies.
In that plant, I met your grandfather. I was working as the banker of sorts. I figured how much each man should be paid, depending on how many hours they worked. Back then, we didn't have your newfangled computers. Everything was done by real people. Anyways, after I figured it out, I would give each man what they'd earned. It was the last Friday of the summer, and I was preparing to go to school when the new employee came to me, asking for his pay. That young man was your grandfather.
Oh, wow. That's so romantic. What did Grandpa do?
He worked on the slitter line.
Slitter line? What's that?
Well, that's where they made the steel shingles to put on the roof.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said the first time he told me. After that, we went out every Friday. Oh, how we danced. Sorry. But the one thing your grandfather always talked about was steel. He loved steel almost as much as he loved me, and he knew endless amounts about it. He knew things like steel was a big part of what scientists call advanced materials processing.
Advanced materials processing? What's that?
Well, it is the creation of materials at the molecular and or atomic scale for the purpose of advancing technology, developing more efficient products, creating new manufacturing technologies, or improving the human experience. One day, when you're older, I'll explain again, and then you'll understand.
Okay.
The steel mills weren't as great as your grandfather made them out to be. They were very dangerous. Flames, noise, and danger ruled the Carnegie mills. Their protective gear consisted of only 2 layers of wool long johns. Horrible injuries were common. Wives and children came to dread the sound of factory whistles that meant an accident had occurred.
That's terrible.
Bad! 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 Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, I was one of those women. Steel was higher in demand, and it got even more dangerous, so your grandfather made me quit. The winter after we started dating, we got married. It was a quiet wedding at Phipps Conservatory. A year later, I gave birth to your mother. On the day she was 6 months old, the sirens went off. Terrified, I waited for him to run home, as he always had, to assure me he was safe. He never came. After, I got all the women who had lost someone in Carnegie's mills, and we went to Andrew Carnegie and convinced him to make them safer. Eventually, the steel mills